Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, gave my piece. Push P. Cop new hammers for my P. We don't want
Tell me, Cab, has your talent for music rubbed off on your own children, would you say?
Well, I think it has a little bit. Would you like to meet the kids?
Yes, of course.
Sure, I'll get them for you. Bring it on out. Come on, Leo. Come on.
How old is she, Cab?
Leo, come on. Come on, Leo. This is Leo.
Ah.
Leo, this is Mr.
Hello, Leo.
Hi.
How are you?
Chrissy, come on. This is Chris.
Hello,
Hi.
Chrissy. How are you?
And this is Constance.
Evening, Constance.
Good evening, Mr. Merrill.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
And this is Carme.
Good evening, Carmen. Oh, what have you got there?
This is Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Look at that smile. How about that guy?
Hello to my beautiful brothers and sisters of the Cree Crew. This is Cree Cree, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. And as always, Mama truly do appreciate you. So, recently, on one of my latest live streams, we reacted to a video that was done by one of our good brothers of the Cree Crew, the Media Man. Shout out to Media Man and his channel. And he did a video where he talked about the history of Cab Calloway's Minnie the Moocher. And how Minnie the Moocher is really no different from the goings-on of modern women in today's society. But it was a good video. I do encourage everybody to watch it. I'll put the link to that video in the description as well. But it was the discussion that I had with the crew after that video is what is bringing about this video. Take a listen to this. Cool fun fact, by the way. Did y'all know, maybe some of y'all know, I know this wasn't something I even knew until like maybe a few years ago, but did you know that Cab Calloway's daughter, the daughter that I guess maybe he didn't claim publicly, was Ja'Net DuBois, aka Walona from Good Times? Did y'all know that? Cab Calloway is her daddy, but I don't think that. I think maybe, you know, her mama was like a groupie or the side chick or something like that, and so in public he never claimed her. But I guess back then it was known to them because, you know. So that's exactly what I want to talk about today. It was brought up 5 years ago in the news, but a lot of things has happened since that came out. And so, of course, you know, people forgotten about it, and a lot of people just don't know about it because, I mean, pretty much right after that, the pandemic hit. And so whatever potential that particular story had in it becoming a big story, it quickly got overshadowed by everything else that was going on in 2020. So I do want to dig into that, and going into what I was able to find on it so far, it's very, very interesting, and it definitely does not seem far-fetched. So I'm going to try my best to break down some of the things that I did find and just kind of piece things together, and we'll just go from there. So first off, for me to really kind of make sense of everything, we kind of have to go back to the beginning. No more wasting time. Let's get on to it. So we're going to start with Cab Calloway. So Cab Calloway was born Cab Calloway III on Christmas Day in 1907 in Rochester, New York. In 1919, when Cab was 11, he and his family relocated to Baltimore, Maryland. His teenage years was pretty typical that of a young black kid back in those days. Yeah, he went to school, but a lot of times he skipped school to go hustle. selling newspapers and shining shoes, doing a little bit of gambling here and there. But it was also during these years that his love for jazz really took hold and really developed. And he started performing in the nightclubs in Baltimore. Soon after he graduated from Frederick Douglass High School in 1925, he joined his older sister, whose name is Blanche Calloway, on tour because she was actually a band leader first, and she is who inspired him to become a band leader himself. But his mom didn't want him to be a musician. She wanted him to become a lawyer like his late father, who unfortunately passed away not long after they moved to Baltimore back in 1919. So his mama wanted him to follow in his dad's footsteps to become a lawyer. So he did enroll in Crane College in Chicago. But his love for music took precedence over everything that he was doing in school. He even had the opportunity to play with the Harlem Globetrotters when he was in college, and he refused that because he wanted to be in the music business so bad. In 1927, while he was at Crane College, he met and started dating a woman by the name of Zelma Proctor. And though they never married, they did have a daughter by the name of Kamei. A year later, in 1928, he married his first wife, Winona Conacher, and together they adopted a daughter by the name of Constance, and they divorced in 1949. Later on in 1949, he married his second wife, which her name is Nuffy McNeil. And together they had 3 daughters. They had Chris Calloway, Cecilia Calloway, and Cabela Calloway. And Cab and Nuffy remained married until his untimely passing in 1994 at the age of 86, 1 month shy of his 87th birthday. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, now let's get into the history of Miss Ja'Net. Okay, so Ja'Net, according to reports, was born Ja'Net Teresa DuBois on August 5th, 1945, in Philly, Pennsylvania, born to Lillian Goety and Gordon DuBois. She was born in Philly, but she was raised primarily in Amityville, New York on Long Island. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of information out there about Ja'Net as far as her early years and her personal life goes, but I will try to piece together what I can. There's not a lot of information out there about how she grew up, where she went to school, things like that. If she had any siblings, we don't know any of that information. I did see that she was married to a gentleman by the name of Sajit Gupta in 1950. And together they had 4 children before they allegedly divorced in April of 1959. Now, I say allegedly because it doesn't look like that there was ever any documentation provided that she was divorced or ever divorced. And then I came across videos where they stated that even well into the 1960s, she was still married to Mr. Gupta. Yes, you did hear that correctly, that I did say that she was married to Mr. Gupta in 1950, which brings about the first of many holes that we're starting to see in the story of her life. But we'll get into that all here in just a little minute. So in the early 1960s, which I'm going to assume is maybe after her alleged divorce from Gupta, where she started her acting career, her onstage acting career. Because she wasn't on TV yet, she was just still doing stage plays. She did make it to Broadway as well. It was in the late 60s going into the 70s where she started to make appearances on TV. It was in one of her stage plays that she performed in 1973 where television producer Norman Lear just so happened to be in the audience, and he caught her performance and was very impressed with what she was able to do and how she was able to captivate the audience, which was how she got her groundbreaking and most famous and most notable role to date, which was Walona Woods on Good Times. And she was on the show for the entire run from February of 1974 until the show ended in August of 1979. And since then, she's made many, many notable TV appearances and movie cameos, such as I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Charlie's Angels. I believe she was in Moesha. She's done the Steve Harvey Show, Different World, the Wayans Brothers, because she played their grandma. And she pretty much remained active on the scene until her unfortunate and untimely passing in February of 2020. So, here is where things start to get interesting. So after Ja'Net's passing in 2020, things started to be revealed about Miss Ja'Net that we as the general public did not know. The first thing we're going to start off with is her age. So back at the time of her death, TMZ was able to obtain a copy of her death certificate. And now on her death certificate, it actually lists her date of birth as August 5th of 1932 and not 1945 as what was previously listed. So at first, initially, everybody believed that when she passed, she was 74 years old. But as it turns out, she was actually 87 years old. And you know what? It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for women, especially, to embellish the truth about their age when coming into the industry. Because, you know, the younger, the better. And if she started her career in, you know, the late 50s, early 60s, you know, she would have been in her late 20s, well into her 30s by that point. And usually if you're breaking into the business, they want you to be close to your early 20s as possible. So that is not uncommon. I was quite shocked by the age gap though, because you're coming into the business telling everybody that you're actually 13 years younger than what you actually were. That's insane. And the fact that people actually bought into it, but then when you look at the younger pictures of her, she doesn't look her age. She never looked her age. Even when she passed at 87, she did not look 87 years old at all. She looked like she could have passed for early to mid 70s easily. So maybe that was the advantage that she had, because she looked younger. So if she told people that she was younger, then they'd be okay with it. So that means when she was on Good Times, she was like well into her 50s, and she didn't look like it. She looked like she was in her 30s. So hey, if you can get away with it trying to get into this business, I say, hey, go for it, right?
Yes.
But baby, that's not even the kicker. Also on that death certificate is where we see who is listed as the father. So of course we have the mother on there listed as Lillian Goety, but the father was not Gordon DuBois as was always mentioned, but it was Cab Calloway. So in looking through all of this, I actually found a video by Layla Lynn Media that she actually made at the time of her passing when all of this first came out. And she was definitely able to do some digging that the average person would not be able to get. She actually went into Ancestry.com and she actually got census records from back then from Cab and Janae's mom and things like that, and was able to get passport documents and really uncovered a lot, and was really able to put together the missing pieces of the puzzle that I was not even able to find myself. So check this out.
back to this document, but right now we're just looking at her age on this document. This document is an entry document from Brazil. She went to Brazil, and this is the document, kind of like a visa. It's an entry document, and it lists her birth date as August 5th, 1932. You can see that right there in the center. It says her parents are Gordon and Lillian, and her profession is a ballerina. She's a dancer. Bailar is dance. So it's ballerina, but at the same time, it just means dancer. So y'all keep that information in mind. Now, if we go back to this death certificate, Ja'Net DuBois' mother is listed as Lillian Goetti. So I looked up Lillian Goetti. I had no choice but to use Ancestry.com, because when you use the link that's in Ja'Net DuBois' Wikipedia, it opens a website I don't have a membership to. But I do have a membership to Ancestry.com, and I was able to locate Ja'Net DuBois' mother. This is the 1930s census. This actually is my family census. This is in Brooklyn in the 1930s, Kings County, and it shows Lillian Goetti. She was the daughter of the head of household, female. At the time, she was 19. In 1930, she was 19. She was single. She was born in Georgia, just like on the death certificate, it says that she was born in Georgia. And I want to give you some information on her background. She was an operator in a sweater factory. She was an operator in a sweater factory in 1930. Then she eventually got married in 1934. Now, mind you, if you go back to it, Ja'Net DuBois' birthday is in 1932. So her mother had her before she actually got married. And what it looks like is that her mother may have been involved with Cab Calloway before she got married to her stepfather, whose name was Gordon DuBois. This is the 1934 Brooklyn Marriage Index. And the way it's listed, it's all alphabetical. And on this side, it lists the brides only by last name. It doesn't list their groom's name right beside them. This is all completely alphabetical. So for brides, it has her listed under her maiden name, Goetti, Lillian Goetti. Now, while I was on Ancestry.com, I also looked up Cab Calloway, whose full name is Cabell, either Cabell or Cable. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's Cabell. Cab Calloway, and it has him listed. This is from the 1920 census, and it has him listed here when he was a child. This is just some interesting information about him. He was the stepson to the head of household, and you can see the head of household was his stepdad, John Fortune. They have him listed as a black male. And I want to go back to this. If you look at Cab Calloway, you can see that Cab Calloway is a mixed race person. So you see on Ja'Net DuBois' death certificate, she's also listed as mulatto. Her daughter filled out her death certificate and she listed her as mulatto, which may be more accurate. It sounds like Cab Calloway, if he legitimately is her father, he's obviously mixed race. Her mother is listed as black on her records, but it's possible that she was mixed race too. So this doesn't seem, the fact that she's listed as mulatto doesn't seem inaccurate to me. Now, when I was looking at Cab Calloway's Ancestry.com records, a lot of travel records came up because he was a traveling musician. So there had to be hundreds of travel records. And one that I noticed, I just so happened to click on one, and it's from Brazil. It's from Brazil, July 4th, 1959. And it reminded me that one of the records that I was looking at for Ja'Net DuBois was also from Brazil, 1959. Hers was July 5th, 1959. You can see that stamped here. And you can see his is the day before, July 4th, 1959. So I started wondering, why would they be coming from Brazil? Why would they both be coming from the same country so randomly? Why would they both be coming from Brazil one day after each other? And so I Googled Ja'Net DuBois by the given spelling of her name, Ja'Net, Jeannette, Ja'Net DuBois. And what came up was that she was a performer in the Cab Calloway Review, which toured Brazil. It toured all over the world, including Brazil. So her and Cab Calloway were there together performing. If you look on this website, they even have the flyer from the performance, and it says the Copacabana Palace presents the Cotton Club Review of 1959, starring Cab Calloway. And if you go down the list of performers, in small print, because she's a dancer at this point, in small print you see Ja'Net DuBois. Ja'Net DuBois. So that's their relationship. She was one of the dancers in his review. And also on this blog, on another page on this blog, they actually show him with his dancers. And you see here in this picture, this first picture is Maury Layton. And then the second picture in the middle says Cab Calloway and chorus girl Ja'Net DuBois. So this looks like a romantic display. It looks like he's performing a song and singing to this woman romantically. But this is actually, if this is true that this is her father, this picture is not what it looks like. This picture is actually a father trying to give his daughter some shine. This is a father putting the spotlight on his daughter. And if you look closely at Ja'Net DuBois, the way she's looking at him, she's not necessarily looking at him like romantically. She's looking at him like she's amused. The same way my daughter looks at her dad when he's singing to her, like she's amused. That's how she's looking at him. She's not looking at him romantically at all. He could secretly have fathered her with her mother, Lillian, and never made it public. Cab Calloway already had one daughter named Kamei from a relationship with a woman named Zelma Proctor, who she was a former classmate of his. But then also in July of 1928, Cab Calloway had gotten married. You see on the 1920 census, he's listed as single. He was only 11 years old then, he's listed as single. But if you look at the 1930 census, Cab Calloway is listed as married. He's 22 at this point and he's married. So I believe this is why we'll never really know if Cab Calloway fathered Ja'Net DuBois, because he was married at the time of her birth. She was born in Philadelphia in 1932 and he was married. Now going back to Ja'Net DuBois, she was a very private person. One of her children is Dr. Kesha Gupta Field. And if you go back to Ja'Net DuBois' travel documents, you can see her name is listed here as Ja'Net DuBois Gupta. This is in 1959, and at this point, she's listed as divorced. She lists herself as divorced. But the thing is, in the media in 1964, 5 years after this, she described herself as being married. This is from Ebony magazine. This was published in 1964, and they did a short review on Ja'Net DuBois. She was an understudy in a theatrical production. So this is in 1964. So she's telling this publication, Ebony magazine, that she's married, even though 5 years prior on her travel documents, she listed herself as divorced. That's why I say Ja'Net DuBois, what we're finding out after her death shows that she was a very mysterious woman. It sounds in the media that she wanted people to have, but in real life, she was very secretive. And in real life, she never told anybody that Cab Calloway was allegedly her father, even though she worked with him and was a backup dancer for him. She was a Cotton Club dancer. But she never told that allegation that Cab Calloway was allegedly her father. She literally took it to the grave with her.
Okay, so y'all seen that video, right? Shout out to Layla Lynn for that remarkable video that she was able to cover on that topic, because she was able to uncover some things that was definitely not out there for the public. So, and see, I don't have Ancestry.com, so I wouldn't have been able to catch any of that. But yeah, judging from all of that information, I am very well convinced that Cab Calloway was Ja'Net DuBois' father. Yeah, it's always been known to the public, to the general public, that he's had 5 daughters, but he couldn't publicly say anything about Ja'Net because Ja'Net was born when he was still with his first wife. And Lillian was a young woman, about 20, 21 maybe. And Cab Calloway was 24, 25, so they 2 youngsters. Don't really know how they met. Could have met him at the club. Could have met him through a mutual friend, anything. Sounds like they either maybe they had a brief fling, or maybe it was just a one-night stand and she got pregnant. Things like that happen. Things like that still happen today. But instead of being all like, oh, well, that baby ain't mine, and oh, well, I'm married and I can't take care of her and I can't have no other kids right now, he did the right thing. He did the notable thing and, stepped up privately and was still able to, I guess, possibly financially support her, and just didn't acknowledge her publicly like he did with his other daughters. I don't even know, if the other daughters even knew about her and knew that, she was their sister. No one knows. The only people that know are the 3 people, the mom, the dad, and the child, that are no longer here. And I mean, Gordon DuBois played a significant role in raising her. He's pretty much been in her life since she was a toddler, about maybe 2 years old, because they got married in 1934. So yeah, she was still a toddler. So for the most part, that is the only dad she's ever known. It's just astonishing to me that everybody, literally everybody in that family, took that secret to their grave, and it only came out because of what was uncovered on the death certificate. It seems like people back in those days were a little more susceptible to keeping secrets and sweeping things under the rug, hoping that, you know, that those things would never come out. But you can't always do that. You can't do that. Eventually it will come out. But, you know, I guess in this case, fortunately, it didn't come out until after all of them had died. So if it did come out, it don't even matter at this point, because you're not even here to see it. So I want to hear from you. What do you guys think about this old school tea? Now get y'all asses down in these comments and let's talk about it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, if you have made it this far, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all in the next video. My name is Cree, and y'all be easy.